we were reading this article by a black female PhD who was saying, ladies, get yourself a thug. They are so thrilling. You have no idea. Raw masculinity, but you can control it because you're paying the check.
Oh, yeah.
And I do all these local radio appearances or remote or direct, and they say, this is Bobby on WFOOL. This is Take Care of Your Thug Week. Call Bobby and let Bobby know if you got a thug at home. All right, we got Tamika on the line. You got you a thug, Tamika? Yeah, Bobby, I got me a thug. He's so fine.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Kwame Brown and Judge Joe Brown had a great 2-hour live stream yesterday. They talked about all kinds of things, and we wanted to highlight some of the topics that we discussed right here at Manosphere Highlights Daily, like toxic masculinity and how the media portrays men as buffoons, etc. We recommend that you watch the full live stream because it's full of gems and things that make you think. The link is in the description. I'm going to chime in here and there, but for the most part, I will let the highlights play. Now, without further ado, let's get this highlight reel started.
So you think that's an agenda that they're pushing?
Yeah, it's an agenda. I saw it when I was at UCLA 50 plus years ago. They started saying that they were going to destroy manhood. See, first you had the lesbians who hated men. You had the feminists who hated that they weren't men. You had the soy boy, beta boys, you'd call them now, who were white boys who couldn't make it in a white man's world. And you had nothing at that point until you started getting the anti-war thing developing in the late mid-60s. And they came up with this stupid idea that war is a man thing. So the way to stop war is to change the way boys are raised to men. And if you raise them like girls, so they wanted dolls and frilly stuff and were soft and emotional, that would keep boys from becoming warlike when they got to be men. So when you put that ballast into the mix, they started taking over. Now, a little slight history. I'm going to make it as quick as I can.
No, take your time.
What I like about Kwame Brown is that he lets Judge Brown cook in his stream. The old heads can really teach you something about the past. BJS Ibmore, aka Master Teacher, when he starts rambling or goes on a rant, I just shut up and listen and take whatever I can learn from it.
What they came up with was two things. They had these young, bright folk that were part of this crew that is going to destroy masculinity.
Okay.
And they said, wow, we have a market. Let's go after the black folk down at the bottom who are getting neglected. They have money to spend. And if we come up with what we term black exploitation movies, they'll come out. So the way to come out is appeal to the lowest common denominator. So let's glorify the pimps, hoes, drug dealers, thugs, bank robbers, gangsters, and everything else.
Makes sense.
And they started doing that, and they started glorifying dysfunction. And I heard them discussing this. They said, we need to start with two things. The black woman was the role model because she controlled her men, the way they looked at it. And two, if we start experimenting on black males in trying to see if we can take them down a notch. So instead of I'm black and I'm proud, Ungawa, black power, afro, and a beard, jeans, fatigue jacket, and ready for the revolution, they came out with Superfly in 1971-72, where this dude's got processed heads, driving a pimp mobile, selling drugs, and they make him a hero. They had Black Caesar with Fred the Hammer Williams, and that plot was he was a major drug dealer who was trying to become the only drug dealer, and he was killing and assassinating a whole lot of people. He became the hero, driving off in the limo into the sunset, smoking a big Cuban cigar. And see, they started doing that.
This is a strategy that is still implemented to this day. That's why I stopped watching TV and old media a long time ago unless it's for research purposes. There's an episode of the Boondocks where Huey watches black TV for 2 weeks and it just makes him stupid.
Well, when you get this mix rolling, they also had another thing too, which was, let's take over the political parties. And you used to hear them on campus talking this nonsense all the time, where they'd get into the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and the thing was the Republican Party would work behind the scenes, or at least the ones that got in there, and in the Democratic Party they'd be the voice. So from time to time they would deliberately cause a lot of confusion. And when they caused a lot of confusion, then they could work behind the scenes and nobody would see. So slowly they ran this propaganda, and the best propaganda engine in the whole world was doing it. I mean, even Adolf Hitler and Heinrich Himmler and Goebbels for the Nazis said, we have to model what we do on the American entertainment industry because it gets in so many people's heads, and we need to copy that methodology.
Oh.
Now, they did this, and for 50 years, they have propaganda glorifying dysfunction. Now, if you want to see the contrast from 1920 to 1940 is 20 years. That's the only time the Nazis had to work. This same group, using the methodology that the Nazis based theirs on, had 50 years, not 20.
Mm-hmm.
So we think in terms of their narrative with such foolish shit as toxic masculinity.
The divide and conquer strategy. When there's no unity, you're weak. They spend billions of dollars to make sure there's no stability in the black community. Where do you think all of these guns and drugs are coming from? When you watch the full video, Judge Joe Brown also talks about this.
And when they start getting you thinking this way, toxic masculinity. See, what they call toxic masculinity is the absence, because that's where you come in. Where I come in is we're trying to deal with imposing masculinity, because masculinity is a set of standards inputted into a boy so long, so often, so hard that when he becomes a man, it is innate in his character. And that's about making where you live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics, where you dedicate yourself to public peace, dignity, and order. And you are a man of peace who can be violent and brave and courageous when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's what men do, where the little women and children get in the lifeboat first when the damn Titanic is going down.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to destroy that.
It's really interesting that he mentions the Titanic, because in modern day society, women still want the privilege of women and children first. But they want equality and claim that they are stronger and can do everything better than men, and they can do it in heels. And this is why men are opting out. Too much confusion, too much foolishness, and the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Now, see, black folk back in the 60s, we came to recognize that we had been victimized by a long period of negative imagery, so we hated ourselves. Everybody wanted to be white. Press their hair, conk their hair, that's that process. And Malcolm said that best way I've heard it, processed head equals a processed mind. But anyway, we were in I'm black and I'm proud. Now you've got this group who is deep off into personal self-hate. They hate what they are. They hate what they want to be. So they have taken a nihilistic approach, and they have screwed up everything that's supposed to be of value.
Mm-hmm.
See, instead of being brave and courageous, it's all right to be a friend and be a coward. Instead of, well, hell, they couldn't get away with anything else but that. McFly in Back to the Future 35 years ago, what is it? He goes back in time. His daddy is there getting punked out by this bully, and where the kid comes from, this bully's still bullying daddy. So he gets daddy to screw up his nerve. Daddy busts the bully in the mouth on prom night, knocks him out, actually.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets back, the bully works for daddy. He's daddy's flunky. See, that stand up to a bully is part of being a man. You have to learn how to deal with that. You know, I'm gonna get my ass whipped, but I'm gonna bust this MF in his mouth. You know, and maybe the next time or somebody else, he doesn't want to get busted in his mouth, even if he winds up whipping me. Now, oh my God, we have to bring in the police and the teachers and the parents to stop all of this horrible bullying. Oh, it's just so awful. And then, oh my God, we have to stop this online bullying. Oh, he's going to kill himself if he turn the goddamn thing off. And you see Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are perverting the First Amendment. You can't say stuff if it makes some jackass feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, back in the Johnson administration in the 60s, they came up with a concept that was good, the safety net, but what they wound up is having a distinctive class of women who became welfare dependent. They got bigger checks the more babies they had, and the check was not going for the babies, it was going for them.
Right.
It's like, it's gotten way, way out of hand. So what happens, see, is when these kids are in a situation where the only way the money comes in is through the women, you set up a matriarchy. And hey man, like what you doing, man? Like hey man, where your man? Or me saying, young man, if the court is disposed to place you on probation, just how do you intend to sustain yourself? In other words, how do you make your living? Well, with due respect, Your Honor, like I got me four, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that. I got me four ladies takes good care of me. Two of them
That's still going on now.
Got good JOBs. One get a crazy check. One on AFDC. They takes care of me.
Dang.
You know, well, what do you do? I smooth them out. You know, they got hard gigs. You know, so a hard life. So I make them feel good. And see, about 20 years ago, there was this thing about the thug. I can remember sitting up in the lounge in the airport in Detroit. Me and my homeboy who was traveling with me is the late Clifford Stewart, who was a hell of a man. I called him my brother. We look alike. He's just Black Belt Magazine called him the most dangerous human alive in North America. He was one of those folks. And we were reading this article by a black female PhD who was saying, ladies, get yourself a thug. They are so thrilling. You have no idea. Raw masculinity, but you can control it because you're paying the check.
Oh, yeah.
And I do all these local radio appearances or remote or direct, and they say, this is Bobby on WFOOL. This is Take Care of Your Thug Week. Call Bobby and let Bobby know if you got a thug at home. All right, we got Tamika on the line. You got you a thug, Tamika? Yeah, Bobby, I got me a thug. He's so fine.
Lord have mercy.
All right, we got Jamalina on. What you got, Jamalina? Well, yeah, Bobby, I got me a thug. He's so fine. All my friend girls, they Jay. He look just like Denzel. Oh, we got, who is this? Lucille? Yeah, Bobby, this here Lucille. I'm white, but I likes me some thug too. They so excited. And you get this kind of glorification of stupid. And you get these young males who have no man training. And see, man training is difficult because it takes a whole lot of shit in your head for, all right, women and children in the lifeboats first, and the rest of us are gonna drown in this icy water if we don't freeze to death first. All right, ladies, get in, and you punk, get that dress off. We know who you are. You still got a beard. Get your ass out of here.
What about Stephen A. Smith? You ever heard of him? Well, me and him got into it because he puts a little disrespect on guys' names. He tried to make it singular about me and him. But as I try to get people to wake up and see, it's not about just me and him. He said something like, allegedly, I wouldn't trade Andrew Wiggins for a box of cereal. And to me, that just goes too far. What if Andrew Wiggins was trying to, go out and get some money off the court? And people listen to Stevie and he got a big platform, and you've devalued this man's value like that by saying he's not worth a box of cereal. to me, that, you know, that goes beyond basketball when you're starting to dox people like that.
Yeah, that's what they do. When they get a man that's a man, they try to down him. And if you badmouth somebody often enough, you get people adopting what they hear. So you get a negative impression. So what the deal is take the exemplars who behave like they're supposed to, and you get the people turned against that by telling lies, mistruths, exaggerations, and so forth. And they no longer listen to that individual, but they listen to the idiots. That's what that's about.
This video has officially been highlighted.